I think this is not only obviously the biggest fight of Terence Crawford's career, but in a career that's filled with almost nothing but huge fights, this is the biggest fight of Canelo Alvarez's career.
A lot stronger, and I think he's going to have better endurance. Not being able to boil himself down like that, and even though it is a huge jump, I think we lose sight of the fact of how much he had to boil down and how gaunt he looked at 140.
You said you don't think, or you don't look into the weight difference. Why?
When you know how to box, when you're as skillful as Terence Crawford is, weight don't really matter much.
From America to Asia, from Europe to Africa, every eye is on this fight. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, the biggest showdown of our lifetime. Don't blink, history starts now. The world is waiting for the explosive showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Boxing analyst Max Kellerman has shared his final thoughts before the big night. As part of Netflix's special broadcast team, Kellerman brings his sharp analysis and deep knowledge to what many believe will be one of the most important fights in modern boxing history.
A great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford.
Okay.
But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah.
Kellerman didn't hold back. He called the fight between Canelo and Crawford the biggest championship showdown in nearly 50 years. He compared it to the legendary Muhammad Ali vs. Leon Spinks rematch in 1978, which drew an unbelievable 90 million viewers. With Netflix broadcasting worldwide, Kellerman says this fight is not just another big event, it's a complete game-changer for boxing. He believes viewership will go far beyond the usual pay-per-view numbers.
But like, where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the
magnitude,
fight?
Yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko, those are big fights, but listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in 78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set per buy watch, that's 20 million people. This is going to do multiples of that. So when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
UFC boss Dana White confirmed in a press conference that Kellerman will return to the commentary booth for this megaclash on September 13, 2025. The fight will take place at Allegiant Stadium, with Kellerman joining John Anik and Hall of Famer Andre Ward on commentary. Kellerman, a veteran voice of HBO and ESPN, called this fight the perfect storm. He praised both fighters as the best pound-for-pound boxers of this era, noting how rare it is to see 2 such elite champions face each other in their prime.
I want to bring up the first member of our broadcast team. He is the best boxing analyst in the sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Kellerman.
All right, so I know you guys are excited about this fight, but I don't think you understand what a big deal it is. This is a perfect storm. First of all, Turki Al-Sheikh. We're lucky he happens to be a boxing fan. None of this happens if he doesn't happen to be a boxing fan. It's just none of us are here. Nick Khan, the best in the business. Dana White. Dana White is the greatest combat sports promoter of my lifetime. And it's his first ever boxing promotion. So that's who's behind what you're going to see. You know who's the best pound for pound fighter in the world? The most recent one. Bud Crawford. Apologies to the monster and Usyk. Bud Crawford has my vote for best pound for pound. Who was the best pound for pound before Bud? Canelo Alvarez, universally recognized that way. But it's not just these two guys, the last two best pound for pound fighters in the world. There haven't been that many. Before Canelo, who do you have? Before Canelo, Floyd or Andre Ward, Floyd Mayweather. Before, you could take the lineage back. There have only been, 25 or 30 fighters who ever lived who you said that's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. These are two of them, the last two. And they're going to fight in Las Vegas on September 13th. Canelo is 62-2 with 2 draws, 62-2-2. So was Marvin Hagler when Sugar Ray Leonard moved up to fight him, and they produced one of the biggest spectacles in the history of boxing. This fight is a perfect storm. I could not be more excited to be a part of it.
Former world champion Timothy Bradley Jr. gave his take on the opening rounds. He believes the fight will start slow, like a chess match. Both fighters will carefully study each other, checking timing, distance, and rhythm before taking risks. Bradley pointed out that Crawford often sets traps with patience, while Canelo uses the early rounds to figure out his opponent's style. Fans shouldn't expect fireworks right away, but rather a smart, tactical start leading to heavy action later.
Feel his punching power as well. In the beginning, it's all the position balance. Like, both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. And the indication of that is when, if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. He usually takes off, just feels the power, cruises, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round's going to be a real, calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure, man. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? And let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next. During those periods right there, Crawford is one of the best at it, okay? Because he's smart. He's cerebral. Like, a fighter to a fighter, we can feel when another fighter is like, oh, he's on my rhythm.
Meanwhile, WBC lightweight champion Shakur Stevenson is fully confident in Crawford. He has said many times that Crawford will not only beat Canelo but might even stop him. Stevenson praises Crawford's speed, ring IQ, and tricky southpaw stance as major advantages. He has been calling this outcome since 2021, and he hasn't changed his opinion. In his words, Crawford has the precision and adaptability to make this fight one-sided.
I think Bud gonna Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
Yeah. You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of a advantage?
I think y'all make that something, you know, in certain fights.
Boxing makes it something, not us.
Like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, yeah, he's kind of small. So I don't think that's possible. Like I'm not saying that it's going to happen, but I think it's a possibility if Canelo gets to acting out of line and not understanding that Bud can crack too. So
Crawford's recent victory at 154 pounds against Israel Madrimov proved he's not just great, he's historic. By winning that fight, Crawford became a 4-division world champion and the first male fighter in boxing's 4-belt era to become undisputed in 2 divisions. That level of achievement is almost unheard of. Against Madrimov, who was bigger and stronger, Crawford showed he could neutralize size with skill, timing, and strategy. He proved his greatness isn't tied to one weight class. Instead, he dominates wherever he goes. This victory confirmed that Crawford is one of the most versatile and dangerous fighters boxing has ever seen.
August of 2024. He spent from 2018 until August of 2024, right? 6 years at 147. Okay? And he's had 8 fights at 147. All knockouts. And 1 fight at 154, which was a unanimous decision over Israel Madrimov. So you can make a case he's actually a welterweight jumping to 168. But he did make a pit stop at 54 and became a champion. So we have to acknowledge that because that goes into his accomplishment bags. That makes him a 4-division champion. So the concern is Terence Crawford jumping up in weight. This is a weight class that Canelo Alvarez has now been in since 2020. He's been at this weight for 5 years when he made his debut against Caleb Smith. But remind you, he fought against Danny Jacobs at 160 in 2019. Then in November of 2019, he jumped to 75 and fought Sergey Kovalev, then came back down to 68. So it's doable, right? But with that said, everybody's concerned with the weight and how Terence Crawford puts on the weight. So let's explain it. As you see the new photos that Terence Crawford has leaked, Terence Crawford has lean bulked. Okay, as you see here, Terence Crawford there, right? He has lean bulked. Okay, he put the bulk on in his weight, in his legs, and in his shoulders to be able to take the punch.
Trainer Dave Caldwell also broke down what makes Crawford special. He praised Crawford's ability to switch stances, his clever footwork, and his control of distance. According to Caldwell, Crawford's legs are his secret weapon. He creates angles, frustrates opponents, and controls the rhythm of the fight. Against a powerful puncher like Canelo, mobility will be everything. If Crawford avoids being trapped on the ropes, Caldwell believes he has the tools to outmaneuver Canelo and win on points.
When the fight got made, I've always fancied Crawford. I just think it's different. I think there's something about him. I think if you add what Crawford's good at, his brain, he can switch, he's very good as southpaw. His judgment of distance is fantastic. His punch picking is fantastic. He's got good legs. When you add what, and he can pop. I mean, listen, I'm not saying he's got the power to hurt Canelo, but he might have the power to surprise Canelo a little bit and just sting him and just. But when you look at what Crawford does well, and then I look at this version of Canelo, as Canelo's got on, his punch rate's gone down. His feet have never been the fastest, but he's always had good placement of feet. His feet aren't the fastest. And he loads up. And he don't really like boxing at a pace. So I kind of look at that and I think Crawford can manage his way through the fight to win it on points. I think he can manage moments, tough moments. When Listen, when Canelo detonates a big shot on him, he's going to know about it because Crawford's been hurt before. And Crawford gets hit. He does get hit. That's why he's exciting. But he does get hit. So that means that Canelo could land on him. I just think that Canelo will land a bomb and Crawford knows enough to tie up, to get off at an angle,